Hey, all right. Well, we could do that, but let's do this instead. Hey, it's me, John Park, and welcome to John Park's Workshop. I'm not running down to Tijuana to find my brass, actually, Andy Calloway over in the Discord chat, so we're going to do this now. How about that? Oh good, I've got all of the YouTubes in the room making noise right now on a delay, so I'm super distracted. Let me run and turn this one off. Hold on. My iPad audio is playing. You stop that. Whew! All right. Nothing will drive you crazier than the echo of your own voice, unexpectedly, especially. Oh, good. So our voice levels are good and we're good to go. So, hey, here we are. Thank you. I'm back. I was out last week on spring break, and now here I am, ready to do it again. Do the John Park's Workshop. Are you ready? I think you are. So let's see. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping first. First of all, I wanted to mention I'm going to be at Maker Faire Miami in a little less than 2 weeks. It's going to be April 7th that I'll be there. I'm a speaker, a keynote speaker actually, on Sunday, April 7th. I think my time slot is 1 o'clock. That may or may not be subject to change. So if you're thinking of going to Maker Faire Miami, check the schedule, and I'd love to see you. Please come by and say hi. I've got some cool projects I'm going to bring with me for people to check out that are related to my talk, and I'll be putting up some more info about that as we get closer, and I hope I see you there. I've never been to Miami, so I'm excited to go see Miami. So thank you for Mario the Maker, Mario Cruz, for inviting me to come to Maker Faire Miami. All right, well, what else have we got? We've got this. We've got a help wanted. Did you know? Check it out at jobs.adafruit.com if you're looking for work or if you're looking to hire someone. We have a free jobs board. In fact, let's take a look at it. I haven't looked at it in a little bit. Let's go right there, jobs.adafruit.com in our browser. Look, someone's hiring a full-time Arduino teacher in New York at the Center for Initiatives in Jewish Education. That's a pretty recent posting, March 19th that went out. Hello in the Discord, Troy Gar. Troy Gar says hello there. And let me pop up my chat from the YouTube chat. Hey, Jacek Radosowski? Jacek? I'm guessing on this name, but Jacek, possibly Radosowski, says hello from Poland. Regards from Poland. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us. And what else have we got? Over in jobs.adafruit.com, there's some summer camp teaching assistants for robotics and engineering posts, looking for Arduino programmer, creative code specialist technician, lots of cool stuff. So go check it out if you're looking for work. It's free. Can you believe that? It's a free jobs board. You don't pay anything to list. You don't pay anything to go look for a job. It's all free. Lots of good makery, engineering-y types of jobs there. What else have we got? Hey. We've got this. We've got a coupon code. So if you want to go buy some stuff, head to the adafruit.com store, and when you're getting ready to check out, type in this coupon code. The coupon code this week is Bitcoin. You don't have to use Bitcoin. I know that might be confusing. You can pay however you like. I think we do accept Bitcoin. I've never had any Bitcoin, actually. Never had any, never used any, never been paid with any. So I really know very little about Bitcoin. But that is our coupon code for the week because our project involves Bitcoin. And that's going to get you 10% off on anything you want to get other than software gift certificates and subscriptions. Man, that's hard to say sometimes, most of the time. But what do you want to get? Well, I'll give you one idea, and that is in the form of our product of the week. And our product of the week this week is the Pimeroni Keybow. The Pimeroni Keybow. I've got one right here. Let me show you this thing. So there you go. That's what the Keybow packaging looks like. It's a kit. And it's actually a no solder kit, which is pretty cool. It's actually a really fun one to put together. So what this involves is there's a Pi Zero W. Is it a W? I think it's a W. So Pi Zero here. It comes with the kit. Pi Zero W. Yeah, it is. And it also has a PCB that accepts these keyboard switches, mechanical keyboard switches, without a need for soldering. So they push into these little sort of friction fit pins, and that's very stably in there because they also snap into this stylish PCB. And each of these keys has an associated NeoPixel that's built onto the PCB, so that comes all assembled. You don't have to put it together yourself. And then you can use the really cool sort of bare bones distribution of the operating system and code for sending out HID keystrokes. So this one right now, by default, I've got this default color pattern, and it's set up as a number pad. So those are typing out 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you can go into the little sort of scripting language they've got and adjust animations as well as adjust what the keys do. And I've only put it together and tried it out just in that default mode, so I can't talk much about the scripting. I looked briefly at the scripts, and they look fairly straightforward. And they'll let you do pretty much anything you want with HID. So this could be, as you know, I'm always on the quest for better camera switchers, so this certainly could make a good camera switch, could make a good music input of some kind, anything and everything that you could want super customizable keypads for, as well as the lighting can be reactive. So right now it's just running in a pattern, but these can react to things you do as well, and it's all programmable. So I thought that was a very cool product. So head on over to the store. I'll show you that in the browser. There you go. There it is. It comes with the Raspberry Pi, like I said. You get to do a fun bit of assembly. Really nicely made kit. That's the parts that it comes with. So you get the mechanical key switches, as well as these clear keycaps so you can see the LEDs through. The LEDs are built onto this board right here. And it pops right onto the Pi 0, so you don't have any soldering necessary. Headers pop right onto there using the GPIO pin set. And some little rubber feet on there and some laser cut acrylic spacers. So that's what it looks like. And that's my product of the week, so go check it out. I think it's a super cool one. All right, well, I think it's time to check something else out in our overhead. So let me get that set up. And here we go. It's this little guy that I like to call the Make Code Minute. All right, there's our Make Code. And I'm also going to pop up the camera here, picture-in-picture cam, so you can see this one when I'm using it. Actually, you know, I'm going to hold that up to the main camera when I use it. So let's talk about what this project is. What I've created here in Make Code is an interval timer. So this is useful for anything where you want to have a countdown timer where you can set the number of intervals in a preset number of seconds per interval. So in this case, it's something I use for different types of exercise. So if you're doing, let's say, planks or dead hangs or something where you want to count off 30 seconds or 45 seconds, something like that. What I've set up is this system where, and I'm going to show you in the simulator here, I can add each interval of 5 seconds that I want, and then when I press both buttons together, in the simulator this is going to be A plus B, it's going to count off 5 seconds, and you can see the little LED on top here is counting them down, and then with each 5 second it drops the LED to green for that 5 second set. We got 5 more seconds, and then when it reaches the end, it's going to ding. I don't know if you'll hear that, but yeah, that didn't ding in this, at least not for me. So I'll show you the real one, but first let's talk about how the code works. So what I'm doing is I've got a on-set, or rather on-start block. Let me zoom this up a bit. In my on-start block, I'm setting the brightness and I'm setting all the pixels to yellow, and then I'm setting a couple of variables. I've got count, which is set to -1, and interval, which is set to 5. Then I'm going to set in this forever loop the little indicator LED is just blinking once per second. And this is actually multi-threaded, so that can be running concurrently with our other code without too much effort. So now what I do when I press the A button, I'm going to subtract 1 from that variable called count, and I'm going to set the pixel at that current number to yellow. when I press the B button, I'm going to interval up, and that's where we see how many seconds or intervals I'm setting. And then here's the main thing that happens when I press A and B together, click those. First, we're going to call this function called beeps, and that sets our little beep, beep, beep timer. I'll play that for you in a second. Then we're going to run through this counter in 1 second increments, so we're counting down a second at a time, and then heading back through the number of pixels that we had set originally until we reach 0. So let me show you this on my actual Circuit Playground Express, and I'll hold it close enough to my mic so you can hear it. So there it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 intervals to it, so that's going to be 10 seconds. Now when I press both of these buttons together, so that's where it starts. And now I can keep an eye on this if you're doing something like holding a plank position or dead hang or something like that, like I said. You can watch the little red LED blinking so that you can kind of count it down, and there you hear it beeps when it's time to finish. Now this doesn't just have to be used for exercise, like I said. Anywhere where you could want an interval timer, this is a pretty fun and flexible way to build one using the Circuit Playground Express inside of Make Code. Now, I suppose you could even add that to your wrist if you use one of these cases that we have and a battery. You've seen me do this before. We have these really nice Circuit Playground Express cases, and you can put a wristwatch strap through them and then add a small battery to it, and you could have a little interval timer that you wear right on your wrist. There's a lot of possibilities for extending that project. Heading over to the Discord chat, Andy Calloway says, I have to wear a white jacket when I'm in Miami. See, I don't think that's true, but it was my first thought because I grew up watching Miami Vice. So I suspect I have a lot of incorrect assumptions about Miami that will hopefully straighten out when I go there. So let's see, what have we got next? All right, so I wanted to talk about our project of the week this week. And the project of the week, I actually have 2 of them. So you'll see our little title for the show is Bitcoin Astronaut. And that's unfortunately not just one project involving the 2 of them, although you could sort of combine them if you want to. That's up to you. But I'm presenting them as 2 individual projects. So the first one is this Bitcoin tracker. And there's actually 2 projects in one with this. So you'll see here I've got a Pi portal, and I've put it inside of a little 3D printed case here that the Ruiz brothers designed. And it's telling me right now what the current price is of Bitcoin, which is $4,036. And what I'm going to do is, let's take a look at the code for this. So I'm going to head over to Moo, and I'm going to open up my Moo session. And let's zoom that up even just a little bit more. Some of it will get cut off, but you should be able to read it this way. So this is another example of a PyPortal project where we're going and using the Wi-Fi that's built onto the PyPortal. It's connected to my Wi-Fi network, so you'll give it credentials in the secrets file. And then when this starts up, it's going to go out to a REST API at CoinDesk. So you can see here, I've got this https://api.coindesk.com version 1 BPI, that's the Bitcoin price index, and then the current price.json. So this JSON file, if we copy that, and we'll have a look at it in our browser. Let me pop back over to the browser and show that to you. All right, so here in the browser, I'm just going to paste in that address. And whoops, okay, so there you can see we get, hey, now I've done it. I hit a funny button, sorry, there we go. I'm going to zoom this up a whole bunch. So this is the JSON file that's returned, and this is kind of in the raw unformatted version, but if we look through here, we can see the relevant things that we want to get are the rate float for US dollars or Great Britain pounds, British pounds, or euros. And so these are being returned currently as, here's the $4,036, or 3,091 pounds, or 3,596 euros. So those values, if we now go back and look just at our code inside of Mu, those values are something that we can find by navigating through the JSON file using this data location variable. So we know that there's a header or a key in the JSON file called BPI. That's again the Bitcoin price index. And then there's going to be a currency value, and that's something we've set up here as US dollars. But you can see I can change this, let's say, to euro. Oh, is my keyboard not working? My keyboard has gone funny. Let's try to turn that off and on. Here we go, euro. And I'm going to save this. Oh boy, my keyboard's gone really crazy. Why? Why have it gone crazy? I'm going to unplug some things. There we go, that helped. So I'm going to save that. Is it not finding? For some reason it's not finding my PyPortal. I'm going to re-plug in my PyPortal and try to save this. Oh, I think I know what's happening. I think it's actually trying to save this to the wrong device. I've got a lot of different CircuitPython drives, and something I was just talking to Kattni about before the show is I want to lock some of them, like my keyboard switcher, so that I won't accidentally overwrite something. Oh, that's weird. So let's see. Can I load this? No. Why is this giving me grief? Let's unplug and replug that. I'm actually going to, let's unhook my keyboard switcher for a moment too. All right. Let's see, it's booting up now. It's not finding it. All right, I'll give this one more try, but otherwise we'll pretend that I saved that file as euros. Let's see. Yeah, it's not coming up, What could be the problem? It's powering up, so you can see here I've got my PyPortal. It's booting. I'm going to let it boot all the way. The slowest part sometimes is just getting onto the Wi-Fi, depending on your Wi-Fi network. Mine, I have a couple different ones, and they take varying amounts of time to get on. Let's see. So we'll wait for the price to come up, because that means it's definitely connected. And there's actually, yeah, that's weird. It won't show up in my REPL. Let me just try a different USB cable. That's a known good one, but stranger things have happened. All right, so here I've got a different USB cable. Aha, it showed up. All right, maybe that was a bad cable, or it might have not been plugged in all the way. I actually think, I suspect, this one has kind of a big end on it. I suspect sometimes I'm getting power but not data just because a plug goes in enough for power but not enough for data. Could be crazy, but okay, so this is now, yeah, that's now showing up. So I'm going to resave that. So you'll see this is going to restart as I save that file. And okay, so now what it should do when it gets on is it's going to transform that one, I've transformed that one variable to be looking for the euro inside of that JSON file. So that JSON file actually does all of those conversions for us. So there's nothing tricky going on here. We're actually just substituting the variable so that it searches through for that key that says euro rather than that key that says US dollar. And now I should be able to see the serial output on here. All right, I'm kind of nervous to kickstart it, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, so that's restarting it with the REPL open. So now it's saying it's connecting to my Wi-Fi. It's setting the background. So we have a background BMP file. It's a 16-bit BMP file. It's as many colors as this screen does. So we've been using those just so that they're a little bit smaller. Now we're preloading the font, all the glyphs that are going to be used. You can see that happening in the REPL feedback. And pretty soon, hey Yanisku, yes, I am a Bitcoin astronaut. All right, so it has retrieved the data. It just told me. I also saw status light go on. And now it's making that text using the symbol as well as the current value for euros, which is 3596. And I don't actually know why it's taking this long. You can do it, thing. All right, almost. Okay, so there it is. So we've swapped that out. Boy, that was a long row to hoe just to show you the euros sign, but at least you also saw me troubleshoot a bad cable or probably one that was just not pushed in far enough. Okay, so now we can go on with this. So what happens is we are using, this is something new we haven't used in any of these projects before, which is this text transform. So I'm going to show you it in a couple of places. One, we have this function that's called text transform. And what it does is it will do the formatting to the string necessary to place the proper symbol in front of the value. So we're going and getting the value of 3,596 from that JSON file. But then to actually put the euro symbol in front of it, we're using this little function here, which is just a text formatting. So it's taking the euro symbol plus a variable, and that variable is the value that's being fed into it. And so that's all that function does. It can do one of those three symbols for us. But then the way we're using it is when we use the PyPortal constructor here, which is creating the PyPortal software object in CircuitPython. What this does is it runs the PyPortal command from the library with the data source URL, the data location, which is the path that we've created inside of the JSON file. Then we're going to turn on status neopixels, set the background. You've seen this before probably. Set the font choice, position it, top left corner of the glyphs or the type you're using. Set the text color, this is black. And then we run this text transform command. And the text transform command, somewhat confusingly maybe here, is going and running this text transform function. This function could have been named anything. This function could have been named add currency symbol or something like that. But what that's doing is allowing us to do the addition of that glyph of the currency before we then load in the type and display it. And then that's actually all that's really happening during the loop, is that we are using this PyPortal fetch command to go out, use the Wi-Fi that we've already got set up to go and grab the JSON file, and then the value is the answer we get to that one query of the key for the current value, and then we are displaying the type using the PyPortal command after the fetch. So then every 3 minutes we check again. So that's how current this one is. Now we also have a second. Let me load this one up. I'm gonna just copy it and paste it into here. And so this is the second Bitcoin example, and I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'll leave it with the US dollars on it. So my PyPortal is gonna restart now. But let me talk you through this one. This one's actually doing a little bit more sophisticated stuff inside of that text transform function this time. So most of this is the same, except we can also tell it how many Bitcoins we own in our wallet. So if you own Bitcoins, and let's say you've got half a Bitcoin, or you've got 20 Bitcoins, however many you have, you'll enter that number here in this number of Bitcoins, and you might have fractions of Bitcoins or decimal places of Bitcoins. Gonna go out, gonna grab the same information, but then, excuse me, when the PyPortal constructor is used to go out and grab that value and then run the transform before displaying it, here's what our transform is doing. It's not only formatting it with a similar, we're actually typing some text, as you'll see on here. Let me show it to you so it makes more sense. So there's the current answer. So it's saying if you own 3.14 Bitcoins based on the current value, In dollars, that is 12,674. And actually, I'm running this is an old version which had a formatting error, so it's using the % sign instead of the $sign. So let me fix that. It's fixed in the code that's in the guide, so don't worry about that. But right here, we just had an error, so I'm going to put the $sign there and resave that. So not only are we formatting it to say all those words and have the carriage return and the word bitcoins equals, but we're also doing this multiplication here. So we're taking whatever the value is that was returned for the value of 1 Bitcoin in the currency you've chosen, but we're multiplying that against the number of Bitcoins you own. So if you owned 0.1 Bitcoins, this will come back and say you've got $300 and something worth, or $400 and something worth. So here we go. This is restarting now with our corrected currency glyph. And, oh, you know what? Let me let that cook here while I switch over to the other camera. And, oh, there we go. Okay, so that's fixed now. You'll just see it's got that proper glyph on it. But let me take a look with you at another project. So I said this was the Bitcoin's Astronaut Week. So let me hide my Moo session here. So not only do we have Bitcoin value, but we've got astronauts values. So what the heck is this all about? Let me head over to the workbench here, where I've got this other one set up. And so this one is telling us how many astronauts are currently in space. And if you saw the Adafruit show and tell last night, we talked about the fact that when Lady Ada started working on this code for this project, there were only 3 people in space. So it's doubled, which is kind of exciting. She was like, whoa, there were only 3 before. Suddenly there's 6 people in space? And it's true, there are. So this project is, here's what it's doing in a nutshell. We've got a background BMP that we're displaying again. We have a JSON file that we're going out and grabbing from I think it's called openstats.api, and then there's an astronauts in space JSON that gets returned. And then we're scraping the total number of astronauts, and then we're displaying it up here with a font. So that'll change depending, I think we're again checking maybe every 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It doesn't change that rapidly. But we're also using the touch screen on this one. So this is always waiting for you to touch, and pretty much anywhere you touch on the screen, we don't care. What it's going to do is that it's going to display the names. And let me tilt this at an angle that'll make it a little easier to read on video. So now it's displaying the names of all of the astronauts that are currently in space. So we've got Oleg Kononenko, David Saint-Jacques, Anne McLean, Alexei Ovchirinin, Nick Hague, and Christina Koch. And it's telling us that they are all in the International Space Station. I don't know what the options are. I don't know what else can be listed up there. I don't know a lot about space exploration, so I don't know. Could one of them just say Mars, Moon? I don't know. Probably not currently, but maybe in the future. So this one, a couple things I'll show you about this one. I've got it in our nice laser cut acrylic stand here, which has some little legs, so it stands nicely on your desk. It's also got a space in the back for the reset button. This is a Phil Burgess design, very nice design. It still has access to all of the JST and STEMMA connectors here, as well as your SD card and your USB for power and data. And there's also a hole cut out here for the light sensor. So if you're using projects like Kattni just published her LED strip NeoPixel color picker, she's actually using that as a kind of a clever button, which is really cool. I can't wait to try that out. I'm also using our new reversible purple USB cable. So these things can be put in either way. There's no wrong way to put them in on both the A and the B side of them. And then this is actually, you've probably seen me use this before. This is a 3D printed case I made for one of our power boosts and a 4,000 milliamp hour battery pack. The nice thing about this is that you can charge it while it's running. And then, here, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see that better. And then you can take that charging plug out of the micro USB, and then I'm still charging this device over this end. So since this is running on Wi-Fi and not plugged in, it doesn't need to be plugged into a computer, so you can have it in a sort of more portable setup like this. and it's nice to have one that can be charged on the fly without unplugging it, so you can stay abreast of your astronauts in space at all times. So let's see, let me make sure my camera switcher is still, oh no, I unplugged the camera switcher, okay, because I was freaking out about my, my USB. So let's see, I think if we take a look at that astronauts, the code for the astronauts project, I will just show you how we're using that touch sensing. So let's grab astronauts, and I'll place that into here, back into Moo, because I know that's displaying, well, where'd you go? Are you Moo? Yeah, you're Moo. So here we go. In typical PyPortal project fashion, we're going to bring in the PyPortal library. We're also bringing bitmap font and label, which is used for text positioning. Here's our source. We've got the OpenNotify, that's what it was, not stats, sorry, opennotify.org astros.json file. And then we're using the number data location and the people data location. So number data location, it's the top level of the JSON file, and it just returns a single value of the number. People has a subtree that contains, or like a list that contains the names of the astronauts and their locations. So the rest of this setup is very similar to what we just saw, and then the main difference is here in the while loop, which is running all the time. We've fetched the data and we're just displaying the number, but then we also have this touchscreen touch point. If touchscreen touch point, in other words, the touchscreen knows that it's been touched somewhere, then we go and grab and display all of those names along with their position or location in space, starting from a position on the screen dropping down. So we can't, with the current sizes of those, support having 20 people in space without doing some formatting changes, but it's actually really straightforward to adjust those things. You may need to create a different font size. So currently we don't have dynamic scaling of the typeface. What we do is we pick a typeface and then do a conversion to a bitmap font. And there's actually a great guide that the Ruiz brothers posted on how to do that. So you may need to generate your own smaller typeface, or smaller font rather, if you're going to do that. So those are our Bitcoin and astronaut projects for the week. Let me move this Moo out of here. And let's see, before I forget, I will remind you that the coupon code for the week to get you 10% off is Bitcoin. For those of you who have started getting your PyPortals in the mail, awesome, very exciting. Go check out the Learn Guides. Like I said, this one is up and ready to go, and I'm working on the astronaut guide. It should be up either tonight or tomorrow. But this will guide you through your setup on the PyPortal, as well as these two variants on the project, one being the Bitcoin value display and the other being the wallet display there. And so astronauts will be coming soon. What else? I think that's it. So I want to say thank you so much for coming out to the show. And it's good to be back. I'll be hanging out in the Discord forum a little bit, and let me know if you have any questions or thoughts or suggestions. And otherwise, I will sign off and say thank you so much for John Park's workshop and Adafruit Industries. I will see you next week. Bye-bye.